Imagine you need a place to either rent or buy, so you end up enlisting the help of a property agent. Now, that agent works with you for a couple of weeks. He makes all the arrangements, makes all the calls, does the legwork, and lines up a series of properties for you to see. And then, of course, you go and see them. And just when the deal is about to close, you decide to go behind that agent and speak to the landlord directly. And you end up closing a deal without paying the agent his commission. Sounds unfair, right? Well, that is because it is very unfair. Now, this is one of the biggest problems plaguing the real estate market today, where you have tenants circumventing or going behind the agents to avoid paying commissions. And this is costing the industry more than just money. Now, this isn't some made-up story. This happens all the time. Now, I remember just this week, I came across a video on a major TV channel here in Accra, and one of the hosts, or probably a guest on the show, was speaking confidently about how he went behind his agent to avoid paying a commission on the ground that the landlord was not even dealing with agents. Now, I'm wondering, how would he have found the property he settled for if not for that agent? Now, imagine you're looking for a property to rent in any suburb here in Accra. Finding the right property that suits your taste and also meets your budget will be almost a full-time job. And remember, agents are already doing this as a full-time job. So just think of the money and the time you'll end up saving by going to the primary resource when you're looking for a property to rent or even buy, that is, the agent. Agents typically charge 10% of the rent. Some do 8.3%, which translates to 1 month's rent as commission. But then the standard, as we're aware, is 5%. And some agents will also request for a small fee, which is often the viewing fee. Some will call it the registration fee, others will call it a commitment fee. And it's all the same. Now, this fee could range from about 100 Ghana cedis to about 500 Ghana cedis. Now, if you ask around, you'll find out that there are a lot of renters who are not keen on paying commissions. And those who have been able to dodge paying commissions are unfortunately quite bold to admit it and even brag about it, that they went behind the agents to cut a deal directly with the landlord. I mean, going behind the agents to cut them out of the deal is just something probably despicable, I would say. Now, the perception of this group of people often is, why pay an agent for simply showing a property? But then the truth here is this: what you don't see is the countless hours, the phone calls, the transportation, the networks that went into connecting you to that very property. So why do tenants do this? Well, first of all, they think of cost. Now, the commission sometimes can feel like an unnecessary extra in a market where rent is already high. And secondly, it's about perception. Many people believe that agents don't provide enough value. They think all the agents do is to just show a few houses here and there. And many people actually end up looking down on the work of an agent, thinking that agents are not gainfully employed. But I beg to differ in a sense that the work of an agent is one of the wheels, or maybe two of the wheels, that the vehicle of real estate growth runs on. Now, thirdly, there is also a lack of structure. Ghana doesn't have a strong multiple listing service or a standardized system, so there's really no protection for agents when tenants bypass them. And when an agent loses money in a situation like this, there's often no structure in place to resolve the matter, and they're left to either fight for themselves or maybe they just have to let the matter go. Finally, there is collusion. Yes, collusion akin to corruption. Now, some landlords are willing to play along with prospective tenants because they would rather close the deal directly than share that deal with an agent. And a landlord who is working with an agent owes that agent a commission when the deal closes. So some landlords will make it seem like the client found the property on their own efforts, and they end up cutting out the agent, and they collude with the client to close the deal behind the agent. In all this, there's a cost, and here it is. When agents keep getting cut out of deals, they lose income and they also lose motivation. And this ends up breeding mistrust, and you'd see agents starting to withhold property details from clients, fearing that their clients will go behind them. This is actually one of the key reasons why when you're looking for a property online, you don't see the location of the property or the name of the property disclosed. you'd see something like a 3-bedroom house for rent at Spintex, or maybe a 2-bedroom apartment for rent in Easily Gone. Another cost of going behind agents is that it encourages bad practices where agents may end up putting up fake listings, they may charge multiple fees, or they may even adopt aggressive tactics in a desperate attempt to secure their earnings. But then I know that proper agents will not go down this path because the ethics of their work will not permit them to take these actions. At the end of the day, the agents who would adopt these aggressive measures just to protect their commission end up suffering along the line, because these actions end up damaging the professionalism that the entire real estate industry enjoys. And instead of building trust, we will end up building suspicion. I don't think this is what we want. Let's be fair. Some tenants do have some valid complaints. Now, some agents will charge multiple fees and still will not deliver the results they promised. Other agents will promise too much. They would show properties that don't even match the preferences of the client. Or some agents will even just disappear when the client faces problems in the properties that they end up renting out. So in a sense, part of the issue also comes down to the quality of services that clients enjoy. Generally, people will pay for the value they see, but then when they don't see the value they're expecting, they will try to avoid paying for it because what am I paying for? Now, there's always been the question of who pays the agent's commission, whether it's the landlord or the tenant, how much to pay, what the agent is actually responsible for, and there are other questions. And there's also a certain lack of standardization, which has fueled this culture of circumvention. We recently published an episode covering who pays the agent's commission and how much to expect, and we'll leave the link in the description, and also you can click up here to watch that episode. Hopefully, things are about to change as we now have the Real Estate Agency Council, which is there to streamline the operations of agents, and hopefully it also creates an avenue for them to resolve their issues and also protect them. So how do we fix all this? First of all, we need to take contracts very, very seriously. Now, before you as a client views a property, there should be a clear agreement from the agent that states the commissions, the terms and all that, which you must sign, and that document will be binding on both you, the client, and then the agent. Secondly, we need effective regulations in the sense that we need proper rules on commissions that are backed by law and also enforced by law. And we don't just want things left to chance where anybody can just state for themselves what commissions they will charge when it doesn't align with the standards of the industry. Thirdly, we cannot skip professional associations. Now, agents at the moment have the Ghana Real Estate Professionals Association, that is GREPA, which is a unified body that advocates for agents and also works to protect their interests. Now, the Real Estate Agency Council is also there to set standards that all agents must abide by. So, in a sense, that helps. Fourthly, we need transparency. Now, agents must prove their value. They need to show that their work is more than just showing properties. They must show that work in negotiation, in documentation, in client protection, and every area that a client needs to be served in. Now, an agent is supposed to guide the clients through the entire process and even be available to resolve issues when the deal closes. And of course, landlords have a role to play as well. Now, if you are a landlord and you engaged an agent, please don't cut them out of the deal. You need to honor the process and pay them what's due. You need to involve them in every step of the deal, and it doesn't help when landlords have private conversations and negotiations on the side, which makes agents feel like they are doing little to nothing in the deal, maybe apart from just introducing the client to the property and the landlord. Cutting out agents may feel like a smart shortcut for tenants, but then it's actually a long-term loss for everyone. It's crude and it's wickedness. And no matter what you say, you're part of the problem if you justify going behind agents. If this continues, agents will lose their income, tenants will lose trust and professionalism that they would normally get from agents, and in all, the industry will lose its credibility. Until we build structures, until we set clear rules, and until we hold each other accountable, Ghana's rental market will remain sort of a cat and mouse game instead of being transparent and instead of being the professional system that it should be. This is Ghana Ground Up, breaking down the real stories behind Ghana's real estate. Now, if you've experienced this issue, whether as a tenant, as an agent, or even a landlord, you want to drop your thoughts in the comments and let's hear your side of the story. I'm Desmond Kafui, and I'll catch you in the next episode.